So welcome, friends and yogis. I am so honored and so grateful to have Archana Gupta on with us. She is one of our beautiful soul sisters. She is one of our mentors and graduates from WiseMind Yoga Psychology School, WiseMind Soul Warrior. And so I'm so grateful to have her on with us.
This is the first time that I signed up for a challenge and I actually stuck with it through the entire thing. Normally I'll do it for like a day and then I'm just like, oh, whatever, it's whatever. Like, it's just not something that is fulfilling to me. So, but with yours, I really resonated with your voice and what you had to say. So I stayed and I did the challenge the entire time. I feel I feel more compassion towards people, which I mean, I'm a compassionate person, but now it's like I really try to see things from the other person's point of view, and I try to work through what the other person is, where they're coming from. And I try to respond according to that versus the initial knee jerk reaction to everything. Now, with my mom and my sister, that's a totally different story. It's still the knee jerk thing. I need to I need to become more mindful with how I interact with them. But to the outside world, I'm a lot more, I'm a lot kinder and a lot more patient.
So it's interesting because, a couple things. One, when you mentioned about compassion, you've heard me talk about this, but for those out there that have not heard me talk about this or are going to watch the replay, that the more we learn through the program around having more mindful self-compassion for ourselves and more what we call radical self-acceptance and unconditional love, then that allows us, it floods out into the world and everybody else we interact with, so that as we give ourselves more compassion, we're able to give others more compassion, and we have more love to give because we love ourselves. And the less we judge ourselves, the less we judge everybody else around us, because I would say a majority of people are reacting right from the subconscious mind. They're projecting their hurts and unhealed wounds onto other people, and they're not compassionate with themselves, and they're constantly judging themselves, and they're constantly not patient or gentle with themselves. And so again, right, they treat everybody else around them the way they treat themselves.
Right.
So if more people would make that connection between, if I was healed, I'm going to change not just the world, but everybody else that I come in contact with.
Exactly.
Now, as far as the, and that just goes whether you're going to be a yoga teacher or you're not a yoga teacher, right? If you're a mom, if you're a professional corporate woman, if you're a coach, if you're a therapist, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're any of these things, if you're someone that's just struggling with, burnout or stress, this is a life skill program, right? So we have over half the women in the group are not even looking to get a certification. They're just going through this to learn the skills and the yoga psychology process that we take you through. But I did want to mention what you said about your family and getting triggered with your family, because that's usually one of the last steps in the healing process, because as you know, your family, right? Or for those of you that are married or have kids, those, like your parents, your siblings, your closest family, they're the ones where you can get the most healing done, and they're the ones that can trigger you the most. So as you continue to progress on your healing journey, and I know I've seen a ton of change in you, like even since we've met, you know what I mean? Like your patience and all these different things that, we're all a work in progress, right? We're all on a lifelong journey. But as you continue in the healing, you will get triggered less and less and less with the people most closest to you, if that makes sense. Like you can
Yeah.
get to the point where 80% of the time, 90% of the time, you're not getting triggered, even by the ones closest to you. Does that make sense? Is like, oh, I notice myself getting irritated, or I notice myself getting angry or frustrated or sad, or I'm not able to actually even have a conversation like this because your prefrontal cortex is shut down, right? You're in fight or flight. And so you can't, when you get angry or you get in these places, like your body literally, you can't think logically. So it's no wonder that so many people, right? Like whether it's with your siblings or your parents or your partner or kids or whoever it is, when you
Right.
get in these places of like anger, like you are literally out of control. Like you literally are not thinking logically. So that's why, I'm a huge proponent of teaching this, is that teaching yourself wise mind and not being an emotion mind. Because when you're an emotion mind is when you say and do the things you wish you wouldn't have, and that you say and do things, right, that you can't say,
Right.
that you wish you wouldn't have said. So that's where you do what I call the peace pause, to be able to like step back and be like, okay, give me a moment. That's kind of the difference between teaching yourself the peace pause and being able to rewire the mind, the neural pathways to be able to pause. Okay, so let's change gears for a minute. Tell me a little bit about when we got on a consultation together, what that was like. And for the students out there who don't know me, right, who they're like, who's this Jennie Wise girl and what's WiseMind Yoga? And she's asking me to get on a consult call to be part of her program. And what's this all about? Pretty much everybody that I've talked to has said it was like getting on the phone with a friend. But I want you to describe, I want people to hear from your words, what was it like getting on a consult call with me?
So when we when we got on our phone call, I was just like, I had been out of rehab for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it was more than a year. But anyways, I'm 10 years sober. So I I was in a place where I needed some sort of healing. Like, not just healing as in, oh, I'm upset about this, I'm upset. I just needed something to help me heal, to get anchored, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so in talking to you, I really resonated with your tone and the way that you spoke. Like, you spoke from the heart, and you you like, in first impression sense, you came across like you really cared about what you were, like, the whole transformation and the whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really resonated with me. So when we talked on the phone, it was like I was talking to a friend. Like, we were just like, I'm like, oh yeah, I live with my parents, and I have a twin sister, and I have like, I'm like telling you all about my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start to talk about the certification and all of that.
So
Yes.
anything else that you want to share about the consultation with me and what that was like?
Um, I mean, other than the fact that it was like I was talking to a friend, I mean, and like there's really nothing more I can say, because like, to me, that's the highest compliment, is to say that you're talking to somebody that you've never met before, but they feel like an old friend. Like, that the highest compliment. So,
Yeah. No, I so appreciate that. Like other people, same type of thing. I've said it was like talking to a friend, or like it was such a safe zone. Or I've had people tell me, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this, and I say this to simply to share so people that don't know me can hear this. But I literally had a student tell me, and Laura shared this publicly. I don't know if you remember Laura from Mastermind,
mhm.
but she literally shared on one of the interviews I did with her, she said that I was the most non-judgmental person that she had ever interacted with, that she felt that safe with me and that much of a safe container. And I was like almost like brings me to tears, like, you know, that somebody would feel that level of non-judgment. And that is coming from 10 years of me not judging myself. You know,
Yeah.
like that is where that level of non-judgment and compassion and love comes from. It comes from all the healing I've done on myself. Because if I wouldn't have done all that, I wouldn't have that level of non-judgment. And then that is like pure and it's real. And I do care and love about, I do care about and love all my students. Like that is real and it's genuine.
Yeah.
So,
And it's obvious. Like it's not just, oh, you know, she puts on these nice videos and she seems like a really nice person. And you know how people can play that they're like a
yeah.
good, like solid person, but in real life they're not. Like you walk the walk and you talk the talk and whatever the saying is. But you practice what you preach.
Thank you, girl. That means a lot for you to say that. And I do. Like what you see here is like, this is what I am. Nobody's perfect, right? We're all human. Like no one, a teacher, a coach, no one's perfect, right? No leader
Right.
is perfect. However, I do try my best, my very best. And I tell everybody that everybody else is also doing their best, right? Our parents did their best with raising us. We are all doing our best with what we have to deal with on a regular basis, including myself, right? So if we can just be more kind and compassionate and loving towards ourselves and everybody else around us, to know that everybody you interact with is struggling with something, right? And you'll hear me say that. I'm going to talk about it again because I think more people, this message still needs to get out to people because I mean, even if COVID wasn't happening and even if all the things happening in the world were not happening, like just in general, we need more love, we need more kindness, we need more patience, we need more compassion for each other as human beings. Because every person you meet on the street, that you see in the grocery store, that you see at the gym, whatever it is, they have something they're dealing with at home that they may not be talking about. Everybody does. It's just a matter of what range that is, you know, or like somebody's like, well, I'm about to go, you know, into a separation, or I'm going through a divorce, or I just got diagnosed with cancer, or my mom or dad passed away, or, you know, something's going on with my kids on drugs, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm getting goosebumps, like literally I'm just getting emotional talking about it because I can tell you every student that I've ever talked to when we've done, and at this point I was trying to figure out, Archana, how many I've done, how many consultations. I think it's probably close to 1,000 at this point because literally, I started this back in 2017 when I used to do one-on-one consultations at the studio in person. Okay. So I've been doing these yoga psychology consults since 2017. But the point being, every student I've ever talked to, right? Just like when somebody, you know, sees a therapist, I'm sure therapists have all kinds of stories. Everybody has something that they're dealing with. And whether that's something they're dealing with in the present moment, or it's something they're dealing with from a year ago, childhood, that they just never dealt with, or something in between, right? Or somebody could be going through something financially and you don't know, or someone might have been diagnosed with some kind of health condition. So that's why be kind with your words, you know, be kind in how you treat other people, because you have no idea what somebody else is going through. And your kind words or unkind words might have potentially tipped that person over the edge. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
and like there, like for instance, I don't know if I've shared this story with you, but there's this restaurant that I go to, and sometimes I'll sit at the bar. Like I don't drink, but I'm fine with sitting at the bar. And one of the bartenders, you know, like I knew her, and we were chatting, and so, you know, we were just having a good time, and I was like, oh, you know, and she was telling me how stressed out she was and all of that. And I said, you know, when you're feeling stressed out, you just have to remember to breathe. You take a big inhale and exhale out of your mouth. And I made it kind of like into like a funny kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
she was doing it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so she sent me an email like a week later. And she said, you know, Archana, I'm so glad that you came in that day, because I have been so depressed recently, and I was actually contemplating
Wow.
taking my life.
Mm-hmm.
And having you come in and talk to me about breath and do like all that funny stuff that you were doing, it just it turned my view around
Yeah.
about, you know what I mean? I mean, she's
Yeah.
still not like, oh my gosh, like happy and everything, but at least now she realizes that there are people out there who care. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know her, but I do,
Mm-hmm.
but I care because I see her.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. And that's
Okay.
exactly what I'm talking about, right? That you don't know. You don't know the state of somebody's mental health. You don't know what they're dealing with at home. Like, you know, somebody could be having financial issues and going through a divorce. Or, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, somebody could be sick and they just don't talk about it. Or somebody could be depressed and on depression medicine or anxiety medicine and they just don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, so always lead with kindness and compassion, and you always want to lead with giving somebody a break and the benefit of the doubt that somebody's
Right.
doing the best that they can. Total side note,
Okay.
by the way, I just wanted to mention this. I watched a movie recently with Tom Hanks. It's out right now in the theaters. I think it's called A Man Named Otto.
Okay.
And I'm not going to ruin it for everybody, but I'll just say that he had at the beginning of the movie tried to commit suicide, but it has a positive, inspiring message behind it. So I don't want to make it seem like it's, you know, it's actually very inspiring the way everything ends up. So I just want to mention that. It's called A Man Named Otto, and it's out right now with Tom Hanks. If you were going to, like, if a student came to you or a friend or a peer, or you were going to tell somebody else, you know, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing WiseMind Yoga Psychology. I'm thinking about going through the program, and whether it's as a certified teacher or just to go through the program for their own healing and transformation, you know, for stress resilient skills and life skills and, you know, the trauma informed work and all the things that we do, what would you tell that student or that person, that most likely woman that's thinking about going through the program? Because
I would
somebody
say do it.
listening, yeah, I was gonna say someone might be listening right now. So you would say, tell them to do it.
I would just say do it. Like, don't overthink it. Um, don't think, oh my gosh, it's so much money. But just find a way to do it, because this whole program has really been life changing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was life changing for me, it's going to be like totally life changing for like most anybody that takes the class, the course.
Mm-hmm.
It really gives you, well, to me, what it taught me was to take a pause before I react. Like, reaction is my big thing today, because I've been like very triggered by, you know, stuff at home. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reacting to this and I'm reacting to that. And now I have the tools in my toolbox
Mm-hmm.
that I can like deal with anger and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, because I'm not, I don't want to make it seem like everything at my house is really bad, because it's not. It's really good. It's a safe place. My
Mm-hmm.
mother is wonderful. My twin sister is great. Like, everybody's like, but it's just like the whole thing of, you're dealing with the same people every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You may not remember this. In fact, I didn't teach this time going through when we did the workshop because I was focused on other things. But I did talk about the reactivity piece. But one of the
Yes.
things I remember actually that we did with your challenge is I actually showed you guys a picture. Do you remember this? A picture of a pause button. And
Yes.
it's a red pause button, a giant button like the kind you would see on Office Max where you say, what's that, when you press it, the easy button. You remember those easy
Yeah,
buttons?
the easy button.
And it just has the pause button on it instead. And that you can imagine that pause button is kind of similar to what I call the peace pause now, is being able, like you just said, to pause and to be aware that you're being reactive, because that's the first step, right? And the more and more you become aware, the less and less you actually react. You actually start to practice and live with less reactivity the longer
Right.
you do it. Does that make sense? So similar to
Yeah.
what we were talking about, like you said, with being triggered, like the reactivity, it becomes less and less and less.
And I find that I now focus on my breath a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than I ever have before, because even when I'm just like sitting around and doing nothing,
Mm-hmm.
that breath is a way to help me meditate, because when you focus on your inhale and your exhale, and you focus, like, that's all you're thinking of is your inhale and your exhale, and you're in a way that's kind of like meditation, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically like focusing your mind on something that has no meaning,
Mm-hmm.
but you're giving your brain giving your brain a time to rest,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
It does. It makes total sense. Okay, so two other quick things, and we're going to jump off here. So first, I just want to mention again, wisemindsoulwarrior.com is where you can go to get the overview of the program, because we're not going to get in. There's a very detailed page called wisemindsoulwarrior.com. You can also go to wisemindyoga.com and you can click on the training there that way. You can click on Wise Mind Soul Warrior. So you also can go to wisemindyoga.com. And there's a bunch of buttons on there to book a call. Okay, it's all over the page. There's probably six places you can book a call. Okay, so that's one thing. Then I also wanted to have you just briefly talk about the learning management system and like the manual and some of that stuff, just the pieces of the training. And then we're going to move into you sharing about your information and how people can reach you.
So there's a learning management system, and it's very easily it's a very user friendly layout. Like, it's got the list of the different sections, and within the different sections there's different lectures, right?
Mhm.
So you just select the lecture that you want to play, and you
Mhm.
just literally you just select it, and the lecture pops up,
Mhm.
and you go through that. But then there's also within that the system, there on the right hand side they have a list of the lectures. On the left hand side, it's a list of attachments that go with the lectures.
Mhm.
So when you're like, let's say we're in section 1 and there's 4 attachments. Here there's the list of the class. On this side, there's the attachments listed, and then the middle is where we see you. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like
No, it is. It's kind of like you see the video, and then for a majority of videos do have handouts, not every single one, but I would say over 80%. And you can download the handout if it's a handout that goes with it, or if it's a journaling exercise or whatever it is. And then in addition to that, we have a 900-page manual. That is meant to be a resource. It's not meant for you to have to read the whole manual. It's there as a resource. So we do also offer done for you handouts. So we actually have given you workshops. We've given done for you handouts that you can reuse if you're a yoga teacher, or if you're a coach. And so that is very valuable, because it goes beyond just regular yoga teacher training, what we provide to you guys, right? Because we also are going back to, I'm going to be doing calls either once a month or twice a month in the Facebook group. So that's going to be starting again in February as well. So we'll be starting on February the 22nd. So the doors are open right now through February 20th. And if people sign up for a call by tomorrow, there's a bunch of different bonuses and things. There's discounts and stuff that you can get. So I'm just throwing that out there because we do have limited spots, and we really do limit the amount of people that we have in the training so that we can give them individual attention. For those that are doing the certification, we have to set up mentor groups. So we do limit how many people that we bring into the training. We already have people that are signed up. So we are running it, that's for sure. It's just a matter of how many people, okay? Okay, so tell us, Archana, what's your website and how we can reach you for your Wellness Fusion, Yoga Fusion business?
Okay, so my website is www.yogafusionwellness.com.
Okay, yogafusionwellness.com.
FUSION wellness.com.
And like then Fusion. Yeah, I love that name, by the way. I always love that name. It's really cool. Yoga Fusion Wellness. Yep.
And then my email address is yogafusionwellness@gmail.com.
Fusionwellness@gmail.com. Okay.
And my focus in my teaching is to teach people to teach communities who don't have a voice how to breathe and get a voice. So when I'm saying that don't have a voice, I'm saying like kids. I love teaching kids. I love teaching senior citizens, chair yoga, pranayama, meditation. In fact, I did that a lot with my father before he passed away. And then I also teach people who have anxiety. So with the anxiety people, I generally do privates with them. And with the kids, it's better to do it in a class format. So it's better to be live, face to face. And then with the seniors, there are very few seniors that are at the age that I teach that are tech savvy. So it's better for me to do my meetings with them face to face. Or I teach chair yoga at different communities, different retirement communities.
Okay, so let me make sure I have this written down.
Okay.
So I have this typed up here. I want everybody to know, by the way, that watches this replay, that this is all live. This is all us having a conversation. Like, this is not planned. I mean, there's general questions that I give to all the students, so they're somewhat aware, but this is all fluid. This is all organic. Okay. This is not like, me telling people, you know what I mean? Like, this is This is honest feedback that you're getting here. Okay, so
And
oh,
it's not like she said before the call, "Oh, I want you to say this, this, and this." Like, this is all like my true, honest feedback.
yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, because it is like, right? I would never want somebody to get on here that I would have to tell them what to say, right? And I know that there's people that do that. I'm not
Mhm.
one of them. I want students to have honest feedback of the results that they're getting and the transformations that they've seen and what their experience has been like with me.
Right.
And I would say 95 to 99% of people, probably closer to 98 to 99, something positive. Probably close to 99, actually, 98, like in that range. You know, you can't make all students happy,
No,
but
you
a
can't.
majority are more than happy, beyond happy and grateful that they found me and that they
Yes.
found the program, which is more important is the program. And most importantly is the community that you guys have built and the connections that you've made and the
Yeah.
soul sistership that you've made. And you know this, when I started this back in 2020 with the group coaching, I did the mastermind way back in 2020. That was one of my multiple intentions, was to create a sense of community online, which is
Mhm.
why I did the Facebook group, why I had you guys all interact, why we were, and why I continue to do it for last year. And I'm going to
And
continue doing it
I
next
will
year.
and I will say that of the people that I mentored, I still keep in touch with
Mhm.
most of them.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the beautiful thing about yoga teacher trainings or these types of group coaching programs is that you will create lifelong friendships. And that's another reason why, again, I created the program, because I saw the level of soul sisterhood that I made with the connections that I have. I mean, I'm the same way. I have friends that I met 10 years ago. Like my friend Cindy, who lives out in Arizona, who I went to Sedona with her this fall. I've known her for
mhm.
10 years. So the point being that when you make connections in these programs, they're deep, real connections with
Right.
students, with each other, as a mentor and teacher and to a student, but also from student to student.
The
Does that make
student,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me read this back to you. So we've got that you focus on communities, adults online and kids in person, connecting to their voice, breath work, seniors or adults, chair yoga in person, and then you do anxiety privates online. And then I put your email. Is that
Right.
a good? Okay. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's good.
Um, so we put that out into the universe, and it might take a couple days, but we will eventually post this on Instagram too. But we have to do some magic to get posted on Instagram. So just bear with us. Like we have to work on scheduling out, because I think at this point I have like 4 interviews or something that need to be posted on Instagram. So right now this live stream, it goes out to Facebook, but it doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't. StreamYard doesn't work with Instagram.
Oh,
Um,
did I give you my website?
you did. I have it,
Okay.
yogafusionwellness.com.
I'm very proud of that website.
Well, I'm
So,
very proud of you for that website, because I remember when you were working on it and you got it done,
yeah.
and you can check that box. You've accomplished a lot since we started working together. I'm definitely very proud of you and happy of what you've accomplished. Now we just need to keep kind of whittling down,
Yeah.
what you want to
My
focus
ni
on.
my niche. Like, I have
Yeah.
to
You need
um
to kind of,
I
yeah.
I just like, kids are my real passion.
Mhm.
I really, really love dealing with kids.
Mhm.
Um, but I also feel like senior citizens are such an overlooked community,
Mhm.
and they need they need the same kind of help, like in terms of anxiety relief and everything, that kids do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
I mean,
I do.
it's not the same, but it is. I don't
Well,
know if
let's
it makes sense.
definitely chat about that. We need to chat about that at some point. We can talk more about you trying to narrow down your niche. But right now, girl, I'm going to jump off because I'm practicing what I preach, and I got to go get ready to go to a 1 o'clock yoga class.
Very nice.
I'm actually going to a hot yoga class, which I'm super excited about. And then I'm going to go sit in a sauna. And then I'm going to come back here and I've got more work to do. I don't usually work on the weekends, but with everything we have going on right now, I have to work this weekend. But I'm giving
Be sure
myself,
to drink a lot of water.
I will. I'm hitting the pause, right? I'm taking a pause for my own self-care, and I'm doing my practice. And I'm going to another dear soul sister that I've known for 10 years who's teaching today. So I'm pretty excited about that, taking her class. So
Nice.
I'm
going to a sound bath and to a yoga class later.
Nice. Well, girl, thank you so much. I know it was like so funny trying to get you first the computer and then the phone. But we made it. We made it. We're on. So we're here. And that's what's most important. So,
but we wouldn't have made it without my twin.
Without your twin. Yes. You had in-person, you had an in-office technical support person. That's your partner. Yeah. All right, girl. Well, I am sending you so much love, light, and blessing. Thank you again. I so appreciate it. You joining us from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
need
to come
to
and visit you at some point, girl. What?
You need to come up and visit.
I know. I've already talked to a couple people about it. So just letting you know, because we also have Beth, who is in, I think it's Winchester. She's like an hour from Northern Virginia. So and we have a couple other people from down here that are interested in coming up to DC. So we will be planning something. So we'll definitely be planning a gathering up there. We just got to pick a date and time, and we're going to do it up, girl. We're going to do something. Okay. We're gonna blow up the DC, Maryland, the DMV area. Okay.
Exactly.
I don't know what it's gonna look like, but yeah, I think that sounds fun, and we can also plan something else to the beach sometime too. You know. So yeah. All right, girl. I'm sending you so much love and light. We will see you all soon. Okay.
Okay.
Mwah. I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hugs and kisses. Bye.